it's really good and really exciting to be back on campus. If you're as excited as I am, please just make some noise. All right. 7 years ago was the last time I was on this campus. And I remember what it felt like. I was a young man bursting with a lot of dreams. And 7 years ago, I had the head full of air. 7 years after, let's just say life has been kinder to my dreams, but not the air. 7 years ago when I came on campus, I was running a business called Tab Digitals. It was an electronics trading business. I was trading electronics for students on campus. I was serving 3 campuses in Nigeria. I had less than 10 employees, no venture backing. I had about $10,000 in grants that I had raised. And that was what life was like. 7 years after, I am back on campus. Grateful and fortunate to be given these keynotes. And one key thing I would like to share in this session is one key lesson I've learned in the last 7 years. And it's this. When it felt like I didn't get what I wanted, something better followed. To back up this point of mine, I would share 3 stories. And I hope that at least one of these stories would inspire you to keep pursuing your dreams. First story. How many of you would believe that all I wanted to be in life when I was in high school was to be a professor? I was chasing after that dream. I did excellently well in high school. I was top 5 of my class. I had 7 distinctions. I had 2 credits. I was the senior prefect in school. But when it was time for me to get into university, at that time, everybody was going after the professional courses. So we called it in Nigeria at the time. So folks wanted courses like medicine, like engineering, like law, like accounting and stuff. So I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be an engineering professor. But unfortunately, I did not get the course I wanted in school. And I remember feeling really bad, especially because my dad, being an African man, was still on the point of me going back to reapply to get an engineering education. But I had just one encouragement, and it was my mom. My mom encouraged me to take it, and I resumed on campus. And as luck would have it, I met one student on campus who was 2 years ahead of me. Fortunately, we were studying the same course, and he could see it on me that I really wasn't proud of the course I was studying. And he asked me one question. He said, "Do you know that there are people who want this course and would do anything to get to study this course?" And when he asked me that question, it gave me a very different mind shift. And then the next thing he said is, he started showing me the things that I could possibly do with this course. And one of the things he told me was that I could get an academic scholarship if I did well in school. Now myself, being the guy who always loved to read and always loved to take on challenges, he explained what it took to me to be able to get the academic scholarship. So what I did at the time was I went online, I searched for academic scholarship opportunities, I found one, I applied, and I got the academic scholarship. Now that's not the main story. The main story is that that single incident was what brought me to Anzisha, and I would explain why. While I was also on campus, I started multiple businesses. And very quickly it occurred to me that I needed to find support. Because what I had was a lot of energy, but I didn't have knowledge. So it was that search that I did to find the scholarship was the same search I did to find Anzisha. And that's how I got into the program. So what's my key takeaway from that story? I mean, I would have been a boring professor. But look at me now. I'm a fun entrepreneur. Second story. When I got into Anzisha, I had one goal: get the cash, go back home, grow my business. But guess what? I did not get the cash. And like many of you tonight, fortunately or unfortunately, you won't get the cash. And it's just the reality. Only 4 of you is going to get the cash. And it's not the end. At the time, when I didn't get the cash, I went back home and I challenged myself to figure out what was next. And on that path, I got introduced to someone who connected me to the next thing for my life. For some of you, what is next would be finding more ways to acquire capital, to get capital, to be able to grow your business. For me at the time, it was having to step back for a bit, to take up a job, to build the right network, to build the right relationships, so that when I come back to build businesses, I would have the critical things that I need, like network, which is very important to be able to do big things. 60 or 80% of everything I've done can be traced back to that single decision. And so what I tell myself all the time, because I'm going to explain what happened. What I tell myself all the time is, if I had won that cash, I think I would have just gone back and I would not have been able to make the critical moves that have shaped my journey. So essentially, not winning any of the prizes is what has prepared me for what next. After I quit my job, I went back to business. And I wanted to build out this insurtech for consumer electronics on the continent. I applied for YC. How many of you know YC? Y Combinator. I applied for YC, and I was really excited when we got an interview opportunity. I thought to myself, this is my breakthrough moment. But guess what? We didn't get in. Again, I felt really bad, I felt really dejected, and I felt like nothing was going to work out. But guess what happened? I got on a call with someone who I had met in my previous employment. And I explained to him what had happened. I told him we got to YC, we did the interview, but we didn't get in. And immediately, he asked me a question. He said, have you spoken to XYZ VC? I said, no. And he said, let me do an introduction. That single introduction landed me my lead investor, who gave me $350,000 of venture capital to launch the round. I got on another call with a friend of mine who had also just closed his round. And I told him the same YC story. And he said, you know what? Let me introduce you to this investor who had just given me some amount of cash. He connected me with that investor, and in 4 weeks, I closed $100,000 of capital from that investor. And I tell you the truth, 8 weeks after YC said no, I closed out $500,000 in venture capital. Now, if you look at all the dots, just like what someone said the dots don't connect until you look back. If I did not lose the Anzisha prize, I would not have connected with the folks who I worked with, who connected me with capital. Rejection isn't the end. Sometimes it opens door to even better opportunities and support. Here is what we look like 7 years after. 7 years ago, I was running a business called Tab. Today, I'm running a startup called GAMP. We were trading and fixing electronics. Today, we are running a software company that functions as an all-in-one IT management platform. 7 years ago, we had less than 10 full-time employees. Today, we have 26 full-time employees. We were serving students across 3 universities in Nigeria. Today, we're serving 200 businesses and their employees across Africa, Asia, and Europe. 7 years ago, I had less than $10,000 in funding. Today, I have raised over $1 million in pre-seed capital. I think it's just good that I talk to you a bit about what we do at GAMP. Just in case you are looking for where to buy computers, ship computers to your employees, or you are looking for one single platform to manage your IT assets across the world, GAMP is who you should be looking at. And I'm available. I'll be at the back after this session. And I said all this to land here. The journey is everything. The journey is everything. The reward tonight is not $10,000. The reward tonight is everything. For me, my reward was my participation in the program, the knowledge I got, the network I got that connected me with the job, and the job that I got and I built the network that connected me with the capital has brought me here to be able to spend these 10, 15 minutes with you to share my story. Talent is not everything. Timing, efforts, they all come together, and at the end, I promise you, you'll be happy that you have been a very good part of this program. Thank you.